Hey everyone, so today's video is going to be palettes under $20 or I'm gonna do $25. I'm sure we will figure it out by the time I like edit this video, or if like there's just like one item over $20, I'll probably just take it out. So this has been like a long video, like not a long video, but like a work in progress kind of thing that I really wanted to do, because I feel like I haven't picked up any kind of like non like Sephora type priced palettes in a long time, and there are some in my collection that I really love, but I feel like I had to go out and venture and see what else was out there. So I've bought actually a lot of stuff to test out for you guys so that this video could happen, you know, in like a more well-informed way, in a more like current way. Otherwise it'd just be like, oh, the Wet n Wild eyeshadows are fantastic and the E.L.F eyeshadows are all fantastic. So anyway, okay, so we're gonna start off with the E.L.F Prism palette, and this one is called Naked, and you get 6 shades and they look like this. This is one of the best palettes at the drugstore, I feel. Or not at the drugstore, one of the most inexpensive products. It retails for $10, but as you know with E.L.F, between sales at the drugstore and sales on their website and sales at Target, you can get any E.L.F item for like half the price at any given time. Here is a swatch sampling of what you find in there. They are beautiful. If you like shimmer, if you like just soft, really high-end quality feeling shadows, these are amazing. They look so beautiful on anyone, on everyone, and then the really light shades look so gorgeous on the inner corner. You could easily use them as a highlight with like a more like splayed out, less dense brush. Such a good buy. I mean, if you want to like do like give like a starter kit of makeup, like I would totally include something like this specific item if you're trying to like give like a starter kit to like, you know, someone who's brand new to makeup. Amazing. So yes, they go on and they feel super high quality. The only issue for me is the smell. It has a bit of that like made in China smell, and it's just, you know, it's very factory smelling. So I mean, I hope no one takes offense. I'm Chinese. I'm just saying, like, as far as I know, that this is what it's like. When I was in China and I had gone to various like kind of makeup shows, not for like, you know, how do you say it, not for brands to feature their items, but where basically they're like makeup manufacturers, like cosmetic manufacturers. This is just like a very common scent among all the shadows there. So that's what I mean when I say like a made in China smell. But just because it's made in China does not mean it's bad for you, or does not mean that there are harmful ingredients in there. I'm not saying there are. Am I rambling? And maybe you guys know what I mean, right? The next shadows I want to talk to you guys about are from Sonia Kashuk. I feel like I'm at a weird angle with this camera. I'm like too close, or I'm too far away, or I'm like, I keep changing the light. Anyway, they're the Sonia Kashuk quads, and I have Textured Cocoa here for you, as well as Textured Rosé. Textured, don't you hate when people speak like they overpronounce? Sometimes I feel like I do that and it's like ugly sounding. So this one is called Textured Cocoa. The pigmentation on this one is phenomenal. You will see that. You guys see that? Doesn't that feel like Charlotte Tilbury or Tom Ford or some situation like that? Like gorgeous. And then this one is Textured Rosé. And this one is like a lighter formula, like a lighter, drier formula, but still really pretty. But I mean, seriously, Textured Cocoa, can we get... This is like an excellent quad, because they are, I think, superior to a lot of quads you can find at the drugstore. They are priced higher. I believe they're anywhere between like $12 and $13, maybe a little over 13, but totally worth it. Every so often Target does do kind of like beauty coupons, or sometimes the Sonia Kashuk stuff just goes on sale. Like you'll see a red sticker on them. So highly recommend these. Next are the L'Oreal lip palettes in Nude 1 and Nude 2. I held off for forever in picking these up because I'm like, I cannot deal with another like drugstore product or drugstore brand coming out with something that is similar to the Naked palette. I'm looking a little pink. I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. Like everyone is coming out with some version of a Naked palette and it's just so over it. These come with a brush, and the brush is actually not horrible. Like in a pinch, you could probably use it, but I mean, in a pinch, you'll probably also throw it out. So this one is in Nude 1. It looks pretty standard as far as like colors go, but what I really like about these is that I think they're very like, the pigment is really good, the quality is also really good. There's also no, what's the word, there's like not like a lot of shimmer happening anywhere. Like this shade right here is probably as shimmery as it goes, and they perform beautifully. Like if you need like a office palette, like I can wear this to work every day and not think about looking ridiculous, like this is an excellent palette. This one is the La Palette Nude number 2, and it has much more like purpley, mauve-y tones in it, but I feel like the selection of colors in here is gorgeous. Like I hope it's like not washing out too much, but they're really, really nice. And just in looking at it, you probably don't see something amazing, but I feel like the shade selection, like the way they look and the way they perform is really extra special, I think, in terms of like a drugstore eyeshadow. Really, really nice. I think these run around anywhere around the $20 mark. I've seen maybe like $18.97, $17.97, recently maybe more like $15.97, but I picked mine up at Marks, which is like an Ohio thing. Let me know if you guys are in a different state and that you have a Marks, but these were only $10.97 at my Marks, so I was like perfect timing to pick up these palettes, because even when it's like buy one get one half off, it's not as cheap as this. Or is it? No. Yeah, still expensive if it's buy one get one half off. So $10.97. So it was really, I'm really happy to have these. Like I feel like it's something you can kind of leave on your vanity and just like bring in other palettes, because there's so much you can do with these. Next up, I want to talk about the CoverGirl True Naked palettes. When I had got these, I think I maybe got them like buy one get one half off, and there was like I had like CVS extra bucks or something. I picked up 3 of them. I picked up Roses, which is more of like a purpley toned one. Goldens, which is more of like your earth tones. And then Nudes, which is kind of like a very standard palette where you can do like your basic smoky eye as well as like your basic daytime eye. I swatched these and I was like, oh my god, they swatch so beautifully. But then I used them on my lids and I was like, the color doesn't stay. Like you see the swatches? That's like from like, you know, the Goldens. Those are some swatches from the Roses. And those are swatches from the Nudes. So you see how beautiful they swatch? Like they're crazy beautiful, pigmented. The shimmer is nice, but it's none of it's over the top, kind of similar to the L'Oreal palettes. The shimmer is not super intense. And then the mattes blend out really beautifully, but I feel like you can't just like use them the way you just use any other eyeshadow, because I find that they blend away. So you apply it and the pigment is there, and then you start blending and everything, it just looks like you have all the same color on your eye, even though you use like maybe 3 or 4 shades. So I was like, okay, forget it, I'm gonna return it. But then I was like, okay, because I had been using a very, like, not a very, so I used them and I was like, okay, whatever, I'm just gonna return them. Like they all perform the exact same way. I'm like, one palette didn't outperform the other. They just all blended away. Then I was gonna return them, and then I was like, okay, let me give it one more go. And I use a colored base, like, you know, like any of those like twist up crayons or like, you know, any kind of like paint pot type product. So I did that, huge difference. Like the color remained, the pigment remained the way it did when I swatched it on my hand. And so I kept them. They're really, really great. The only thing is you can't just use like an Urban Decay primer potion or like, you know, like a regular kind of like liquid primer, like a NARS primer, or you know what I'm saying? Like you need to put down a colored base. It doesn't matter if it's like a metallic or a beige, but you need to put down something with a little more pigment that also holds shadows. You need like one of those dual purpose eye primers. With you, as long as you have something like that, these look stunning and they stay on your lids and they look beautiful. Next is the Wet n Wild Au Naturel palette. It's called Nude Awakening. I think Wet n Wild had come out with a different palette that was also called Nude Awakening, and it was in that kind of like 8-pan form, similar to something like this, but it was limited edition. This, I don't know if it's limited edition or not, but this is what the shades look like. This one reminds me a little bit more of like the Naked palettes, like, you know, shade, outside of maybe that purple being thrown in. Otherwise it really kind of looks like the Naked one. So I feel like because I'm just like not into those shades, I didn't like this palette as much. They perform well and they swatch well, but like I feel like it's just not for me. Like, I mean, I guess maybe it is. Look how beautiful it is. I just don't reach for it. Like, it's like whenever I was like slowly procuring all of these different palettes, like this is just the one I was just like, whatever about. Just for no particular reason, only just because I'm just not that into the shades here. This palette is from MUA. It is the Nude Eyeshadow palette. MUA is carried at CVS here in the US. This is an amazing palette. I love it. I can't remember how much it was. If it was like 15 or was it $12.99? It's under 15. These are the shades. And you're like, oh, whatever, those shades look whatever. Yeah, maybe they look whatever. They perform. They're so beautiful. Let me get like a lighter color there. I would totally recommend getting this. I picked this up probably around like Christmas time, maybe a little before Christmas, and I really, really enjoy using it. The pigment is great. The staying power is amazing. There's just really, really beautiful shades in there. There's a mix of matte and shimmer so that your, you know, your highlight can be shimmery or it can be matte, just depending on what you want. Of course, the black is matte. Anyone that's trying to do shimmery black inside like a more like all-encompassing eye look palette, I don't know why your black would never be not matte, but so beautiful. Highly recommend. CVS constantly does 20 to 25% off MUA products, or like 40% off, buy one get one half off. There is always a promotion on these products. You can never do like a great drugstore products or a great like palettes under like, you know, $10 or something without mentioning the Comfort Zone palette from Wet n Wild, because it really is so beautiful. And then the color combination is quite unique for, you know, drugstore brand type shadows. I don't know, I feel like, should I swatch this? I feel like people have seen this like so many times. What you get is basically a lot of beautiful shimmery shades. So there's like a sampling of shades for you. And of course, you know, any kind of duochrome with a drugstore always makes us really happy because we feel like it makes it feel a little more high-end or unique as far as palettes go. But this one is just really great. Sometimes the green throws me off a little because I don't know how often I would really use that, but it's like a beautiful, the formula is just fantastic. You do get a little powder. It is the kind of, the Wet n Wild shadow formula that we all love is slightly powdery, but it performs well. Next up we have Makeup Revolution. This one is called Neutrals versus Neutrals. The spelling is, you know, play on words, and I'll list it below. Below I will list the, you know, the products as well as the prices, like the standard retail price for you guys. But this is what it looks like. It's a really interesting shade selection for a neutral palette. I think it's really pretty. I feel like some of the shades are too close or like too similar in shade where I'm like, I don't really know why I'd even reach for that. The pigmentation is really great. And I feel like it's kind of, it feels a little more buttery than the Wet n Wild one I showed you, not the Comfort Zone, but the formula on these is really great. And like I said, their shade selection is quite interesting. This color is beautiful all over the lid or in the crease or under the lash line, wherever you want it. It's just like a very fun palette to have. I would totally recommend trying Makeup Revolution shadows, especially if they're similar to this. When I was looking at their display, trying to determine which one I wanted to pick up to compare to kind of like the other palettes, I had a really hard time deciding. They had like maybe 4 or 5 different types of eyeshadow palettes that I could choose from. There were baked formulas. There was ones that were in combination with like face products. It was really hard to pick one. So I just kind of went with like a neutral one, since most of these kind of tend to be neutral, or at least there's always a neutral option in terms of what's being offered. But I like really enjoyed this. It's like a really fun, beautiful palette. Next, I want to talk about sleek palettes. I'm sure a lot of you, I don't know what that face motion was. A lot of people have heard of sleek makeup, and they were like a really big deal a while ago, and people still talk about them. It's not that they don't. This is one of the ones that started it all. It's called the Storm palette, and it is, again, very similar to that like naked palette kind of vibe. They're very pigmented, very shimmery. I feel like the shimmery, here's the thing. For their formula, the mattes are matte and the shimmers are like metallic. I don't find that there's like kind of like a satiny in-between formula finish type thing. You either get shimmer or you get matte. There's no like kind of softer textures. So let me see if we can get like good. So do you see what I mean? I feel like their shimmer formula is extremely kind of silicone-y and very like thick. So they go on very pigmented. So I feel like a little goes a long way, and you should build it. Or I mean, you can just throw it on there and it's like super intense. So, so right there you'll see 3 of the matte shades. They're much drier, especially because of how kind of wet looking the shimmers are. These are very dry, and I feel like there are definitely ones that you kind of have to go in a few times to get the right amount of pigment. Like even this one, which would be like your standard transition shade, it's very, very light. Although I guess I'd make a really nice nose contour. Anyway, so that's my opinion on the sleek eyeshadows. This is called the Natural Shadow Palette from City Color, and I've seen this on Amazon, and then when City Color did like a recent sale, I picked up a lot of City Color stuff because on top of the sale, you could also use the code DUPETHAT, which is like an Instagram account, and get like an additional like 15% off or something. So I picked up a lot of stuff that I've been seeing that I kind of wanted to try, and this is one of them. It's called, like I said, the Natural Shadow Palette, and these are the colors. I really like the shade selection. It's so pretty. This color I've been digging into a lot because it reminds me of Makeup Geek's Steampunk, and I love Steampunk. I have it on my lids, like on close to the lash line. The only issue is because it's one of their foiled formulas, it's one of those where like if you take it and you swatch it, it looks fine, and you put it on the lid, it looks fine, but once you start blending, the foiledness comes out and you get a lot of that dark depth, and you lose like the kind of burgundy brown like burnt color. Whereas in this palette, like this remains looking like this. Like this is what Makeup Geek Steampunk kind of looks like before you get to blending, but this one just kind of maintains that kind of bronzy burgundy shade to it. So there's just some more swatches for you. That burgundy one is obviously, or that bronzy burgundy shade is one of the most pigmented in there, and the rest of them are kind of softer colors. It's still really pretty, but I feel like the rest of the palette is definitely, again, where you kind of need to put down a base, like a colored base or like a metallic base or one of those eye crayon bases to make sure that the color doesn't blend away. It doesn't blend away as much as the CoverGirl ones do, but this, you still need a little help with it. Lastly, we're going to talk about some of my super favorite drugstore eyeshadow palettes, and they're the ones from Milani. I mean, these have been out for like a decent amount of time. Again, I've just been avoiding picking these up. A lot of these things were picked up in the last month or so because I was like, I should just test stuff out and like see what I think. Like, are things improving or not? Because for the longest time, it was just like, drugstore eyeshadows, they're coming out all the time, and we get them, we review them, and then we never reach for them again, like even if they are kind of good. So I wanted to see if there were any ones that I would reach for more. So these are called the Everyday Eyes eyeshadow collection from Milani. I have been loving Milani lately. These shadows, their new concealer, like foundation thing, whatever. I think it's a foundation. They call it foundation plus concealer. That's amazing. I've always like, you know, loved their blushes, but I feel like I'm gonna have to blog sell them because I just never reach for blush. Any of their like contour highlight duos have always been so good. And I recently picked up, it's like a dual-ended pen. One is for your eyebrows and the other one is like a liquid liner. So good. And then their eyeshadow primer is also phenomenal. And for that price, it's crazy. So I had high hopes for these, and the reviews I'd seen have been fairly positive. So this one is called Must Have Neutrals. I wish the packaging wasn't so gold, but you know, it's fine. I picked this one up because I really wanted to try out and see if the black was any good, because the other two are lighter. Like they're still kind of neutral palettes, but they're a little lighter in terms of like what the darkest color is. When you get these, this shade right here, the largest one, is so beautiful. Do you see that? Do you see how gorgeous that is? How high-end and luxe does that like shade look? Beautiful. And then I find that the whatever's up here too is also usually pretty nice as well. So there's that shade. Super pretty. So there's a swatch of a shimmer and a swatch of a matte. Like, so nice. Like if Too Faced came out with these or something and sold them at Sephora for like $36, people will still buy them. They're the same. They're really good. I think these retail for around $9.99. Am I making that up? $9.99, something like that. Like I said, I'll put the prices below. I just can't think of all the prices right now. This one is called Bare Necessities. Again, how gorgeous. Like this like main like shimmery shade, crazy beautiful. Let me just get all these swatches done at once. Shimmery. Oh, there's some shades there, some shimmery ones, some matte ones, and then that like just really gorgeous large, I don't know what you want to call that. You can totally use it as like a face highlight, nose highlight, upper lip highlight. So pretty. This last one is called Earthy Elements. It is hands down my favorite Milani palette. It is probably also hands down my favorite palette out of all the palettes I've shown you. I am so obsessed with this color. I am reaching for this constantly. I probably picked these up maybe in January-ish. Oh my god, so obsessed. I swatch all of these for you because, you know, it's my fave. So there's like that shimmery color, that large piece in there. However, I feel like out of all the ones I have, the large shimmery shade in this palette is very much just like very fine glitter and not as like highlighted or like a highlighter type product as the other ones were. But these are the 3 shadows that, like, you know, you can generally work with. You have like 2 transition shades that are matte, and then you have like this really beautiful shimmery shade. This is the color I have on my lids. I am so obsessed with this color. I reach for it all the time. I always use it as my lid shade. And then that's the color right above it, which is, it looks peachy in the palette, but I feel like when you apply it, it looks really gold. But how beautiful. Like, if you felt like you missed out on the peanut butter palette from Too Faced, just get this. This is so stunning. And then again, it's much more wearable, and that like you don't even have to deal with having those purple shades in there. Like, I'm so obsessed. This is like my absolute favorite. And the formula and wear time on these are fantastic. You don't need to use like a colored base. They just wear beautifully. They blend out beautifully. Like, I just love it. I generally have that quad, or not quad, whatever, this palette on my eyes. Like, I have that lid shade I showed you, and it's also on the lower lash line, and I kind of mix the 2 matte shades for like the crease as well as the lower lash line, just to like blend everything out. I just think it's so beautiful. Anyway, so you watch this channel, you know, every so often there's a video, there's also a giveaway. I don't always put the giveaway in the title because you should just, you know, it's just like a bonus. Like, if you watched, then you can, you know, enter to win the giveaway. But so what we have here is, you'll get the MUA kit, the really pretty, like, out of all the palettes that have come out to look like the Naked palette from Urban Decay, I think the MUA one is one of the best ones. So you'll get that. It also comes with a brush and an eyeliner, which I haven't tried before, but like, hey, you'll get this palette and then a little bonus. You'll get the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone, which is probably one of the first drugstore palettes to really just like blow up and stand out. The E.L.F. Prism palette, which I'm obsessed with, like, you know, the very first one I showed you. This is so beautiful. Like, all you need is like a matte transition shade and you are good to go on these, and you can use the really light shades as like highlights on your skin, and it's so beautiful. I'm also gonna throw in this like Revlon Brazen shadow palette. Also, I feel like I'll probably throw in some other things too. If any of you guys ever won the giveaways, you know, like, you get what's in the giveaway, but I also tend to throw in like all kinds of random things, other products, as well as like samples of stuff, just to kind of like, you know, sweeten the deal a little. So rules and regulations will be listed down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please tell me what great palettes you guys are finding either at the drugstore or under like the $20 mark. I just feel like there has to be good stuff, right? And seriously guys, like the Milani is super good. The L'Oreal, like those big ones, also really good. I'm just still trying to see which ones I really am obsessed with. Textured Cocoa from Sonia Kashuk is amazing. And like I said, the MUA one, and then the CoverGirl ones, like, really, as long as you have like a colored base, you are good to go, and like they will last and look beautiful and stay on and, you know, remain there for a good 6-7 hours. So again, hope you really enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I will talk to you guys really soon, and good luck on the giveaway.